Girivaradari Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Devam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotra Sadashi Srimad Srilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotra Sadashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantraj Srimad-Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 17. Chapter titled The Dynasties of the Sons of Pururava. In this whole chapter there is only one purport, so I'll just finish the whole chapter. Okay, chapter summary. Ayu, the eldest son of Pururava, had 5 sons. This chapter describes the dynasties of 4 of them, beginning with Kshatravriddha. Ayu, the son of Pururava, had 5 sons: Nahusa, Kshatravriddha, Raji, Raba and Anena. The son of Kshatravriddha was Suhotra, who had 3 sons named Kasya, Kusha and Gritsamada. The son of Gritsamada was Shunaka and his son was Shaunaka. The son of Kasya was Kashi. From Kashi came the sons and grandsons known as Rashtra, Dirgatama, and then Dhanvantari, who was the inaugurator of medical science and was a Shakti-avesha incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. The descendants of Dhanvantari were Ketuman, Bhimarata, Divodasa, and Dyuman, who was also known as Pratardhana, Shatrujit, Vatsa, Ritadvaja, and Kuvalayashva. The son of Dyuman was Alarka, who reigned over the kingdom for many years. Following in the dynasty of Alarka were Santati, Sunita, Niketana, Dharmaketu, Satyaketu, Drishtaketu, Sukumara, Vitihotra, Bharga and Bharga Bhumi. All of them belonged to the dynasty of Kashi, the descendant of Kshatravriddha. The son of Raba was Rabasa and his son was Gambhira. Gambhira's son was Akriya and from Akriya came Brahmavit. The son of Anena was Shuddha, and his son was Suchi. The son of Suchi was Chitrakrit, whose son was Shantaraja. Raji had 500 sons, all of extraordinary strength. Raji was personally very powerful and was given the kingdom of heaven by Lord Indra. Later, after Raji's death, when the sons of Raji refused to return the kingdom to Indra, by Brihaspati's arrangement, they became unintelligent and Lord Indra conquered them. The grandson of Kshatravriddha named Kusha gave birth to a son named Prati. From Prati came Sanjaya, from Sanjaya Jaya, from Jaya Krita, and from Krita Haryabala. The son of Haryabala was Sahadeva, the son of Sahadeva Hina, the son of Hina Jayasena, the son of Jayasena Sankriti, and the son of Sankriti Jaya. Text 17, 1-3. Shri Bhadrayani Ruvacha Ya Pururavasa Putra Ayustasya Bhavan Sutaha Nausha Satravriddascha Rajiravascha Viryavan Anena iti Rajindra Shunu Shatravriddho Anyavan Anvayam Shatravriddha Sutasyasan Suhotrasyatmajas Jastriyaha Kasya Kusho Gritsamada Iti Gritsamadad Abhut Shunaka Shaunaka Yasya Shunaka Shaunako Yasya Bhavricha Pravavaro Munihi. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, from Pururava came a son named Ayu, whose very powerful sons were Nahusha, Shatravriddha, Raji, Rabha, and Anena. O Maharaja Parikshit, now hear about the dynasty of Shatravriddha. Shatravriddha's son was Suhotra, who had 3 sons named Kasya, Kusha, and Gritsamada. From Gritsamada came Shunaka, and from him came Shaunaka, the great saint, the best of those conversant with the Rig Veda. Text 4. Kasyasya kashistat putro rastro dirgatama pita dhanvantaraye dirgatamasa ayurveda pravartakaha yangyabuk vasudevamsa smrita matrarthi nashanaha. Translation. The son of Kasya was Kashi, and his son was Rashtra, the father of Dirgatama. Dirgatama had a son named Dhanvantari, who was the inaugurator of the medical science and an incarnation of Lord Vasudeva, the enjoyer of the results of sacrifices. One who remembers the name of Dhanvantari can be released from all disease. Text 5. Tat putra ketumanasya janye bhimaratas tata divo dasa dhumams tasmat pratardhana iti smrataha. Translation. The son of Dhanvantari was Ketuman, and his son was Bhimarata. The son of Bhimarata was Divodasa, and the son of Divodasa was Dhuman, also known as Pratardhana. Text 6. Sa yeva shatrujit vatsa ritadvaja iti ritaha tata kavalaya sveti prokto alarkadayas tataha. Dhuman was also known as Shatrujit, Vatsa, Ritadvaja, and Kuvalayasva. From him were born Alarka and other sons. Text 7. Shashtim Varsha Sahasrani, Shashtim Varsha Satani cha, Nalarkad Aparo Rajan, Bubuje Medinim Yuva. Alarka, the son of Dhuman, reigned over the earth for 66,000 years, my dear King Parikshit. No one other than him has reigned over the earth for so long as a young man. Text 8. Alarka santatis tasmat sunito ataniketanaha dharmaketu sutas tasmat satyaketu rajayata. From Alarka came a son named Santati, and his son was Sunita. The son of Sunita was Niketana, the son of Niketana was Dharmaketu, and the son of Dharmaketu was Satyaketu. Text 9. Drishtaketus tatas tasmat sukumara shitiswaraha Vitihotrasya bhargoto bhargabhumir abunnurupa. O King Parikshit, from Satyaketu came a son named Drishtaketu, and from Drishtaketu came Sukumara, the emperor of the entire world. From Sukumara came a son named Vitihotra, from Vitihotra Bharga, and from Bharga Bhargabhumi. Text 10. Iti me kasayo bhupa shatra vriddhan vayayinaha rabasya rabasa putro Gambhiras chakriyas tataha. O Maharaja Parikshit, all of these kings were descendants of Kashi, and they could also be called descendants of Shatravriddha. The son of Rabha was Rabasa. From Rabasa came Gambhira, and from Gambhira came a son named Akriya. Text 11. Tadgotram brahma vijjanye shunu vamsham anena saha shuddhastata shuchistasmat Chitrakrit dharma saratihi. The son of Akriya was known as Brahmavit, O king. Now hear about the descendants of Anena. From Anena came a son named Shuddha, and his son was Suchi. The son of Suchi was Dharmasarati, also called Chitrakrit. Text 12. Tata Shantarajo Janye Kritakritya Atmavan Raje Pancha Shatanyasan Putranam Amitau Jasam. From Chitrakrit was born a son named Shantaraja, a self-realized soul who performed all kinds of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and therefore did not beget any progeny. The sons of Raji were 500, all very powerful. Text 13. Dever abhyartito daityan hatvendraya dadadivam indrastasmai punardatva grihitva charanau rajehe atmanam arpayamasa pragradhadyari shankitaha. On the request of the demigods, Raji killed these demons and thus returned the kingdom of heaven to Lord Indra. But Indra, fearing such demons as Prahlada, returned the kingdom of heaven to Raji and surrendered himself at Raji's lotus feet. Okay, text 14, it has a purport, so we can repeat. Please repeat. Pitari uparate putraha yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan savadaduhu pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan savadaduhu pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan samadaduhu pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan samadaduhu. Trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan samadaduhu pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan samadaduhu. Mataji. Pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu trivishtapam mahendraya yanyabhagan samadaduhu. Pitari, when their father. Uparate, passed away. Putraha, the sons. Yachamanaya, although requesting from them. No, not. Daduhu, returned. Trivishtapam, the heavenly kingdom. Mahendraya, unto Mahendra. Yanyabhagan, the shares of ritualistic ceremonies. Samadaduhu, gave. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Upon Raji's death, Indra begged Raji's sons for the return of the heavenly planet. They did not return it, however, although they agreed to return Indra's shares in ritualistic ceremonies. Purport: Raji conquered the kingdom of heaven, and therefore when Indra, the heavenly king, begged Raji's sons to return it, they refused. Because they had not taken the heavenly kingdom from Indra, but had inherited it from their father, they considered it their paternal property. Why then should they return it to the demigods? So I'll just finish this chapter because other verses, they don't have purport. Text 15. Guruna huyamane agnau balabit tanayan rajehe avadid brahmshitan margan nakashit avasheshitaha. Thereafter, Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, offered oblations in the fire so that the sons of Raji would fall from moral principles. When they fell, Lord Indra killed them easily because of their degradation. Not a single one of them remained alive. Kushat prati shatra vruddhat sanjayas tatsuto jayaha tatakrita kritasyapi jangye haryabalo nirupaha. From Kusha, the grandson of Kshatravruddha, was born a son named Prati. The son of Prati was Sanjaya, and the son of Sanjaya was Jaya. From Jaya, Krita was born, and from Krita, King Haryabala. Sahadevas tato hino jayasenastu tatsutaha sankritistasya cha Jaya Shatradharma maharataha Shatravruddhanvaya bhupa ime shunvata nahushan. From Haryabala came a son named Sahadeva, and from Sahadeva came Hina. The son of Hina was Jayasena, and the son of Jayasena was Sankriti. The son of Sankriti was the powerful and expert fighter named Jaya. These kings were the members of the Kshatravruddha dynasty. Now let me describe to you the dynasty of Nahusha. Thus in the Bhakti purports of the 9th canto, 17th chapter of the Srimad-Bhagavatam entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Pururava. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete grimit kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shitapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatodam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Pitaryuparate putra yachamanaya no daduhu Triveshtapam Mahendraya Yajnabahan Samadaduhu. Upon Raji's death, Indra begged Raji's sons for the return of the heavenly planet. They did not return it, however, although they agreed to return Indra's shares in ritualistic ceremonies. So here we are seeing the dynasty of the lunar kings. And particularly in this chapter, we are seeing the dynasty of King Pururava. And particularly here, it's mentioned everywhere that the name Kshatravruddha. And these dynasties are known as, the sons of these dynasties, they are all stemming from the king Kshatravruddha. So here in this particular purport, we are learning a lesson, a very good lesson actually. If you analyze it carefully, we see that this is a very good lesson that we can learn from this purport. Actually, in Srimad-Bhagavatam, there are so many things to learn from. Srimad-Bhagavatam, we know this is Pibadam Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. We just relish the nectar that's contained, or not just contained, the whole Srimad-Bhagavatam is just nectar. So one who is really non-envious, he relishes Srimad-Bhagavatam. And for many conditioned souls, so many learns also can be learned from Srimad-Bhagavatam. Obviously, we know Srimad-Bhagavatam is for the Paramahamsas. Then why would a conditioned soul read Srimad-Bhagavatam? In fact, that answer is there in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam says that Shrinvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantostu hridayanto sto abhadrani vidunoti sugrutsatam. So whoever is hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is particularly present in Srimad-Bhagavatam, naturally the heart is purified because it's a pious narration. Srimad-Bhagavatam is completely a transcendental narration. So whatever abhadra, inauspicious is there in the heart, it's all removed. And then the next verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam says, Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavadasya. By regularly hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam, all the abhadras, all the bad things that are present in the heart, it's all removed. So Srimad-Bhagavatam, it just purifies the hearer and gradually takes the person to the stage of Paramahamsa. And who is already Paramahamsa, naturally he will relish everything in Srimad-Bhagavatam. And we can particularly see that there are so many lessons that we learn from Srimad-Bhagavatam. As devotees practicing devotional service in the stage of sadhana, and definitely we are not purified. We are reading Srimad-Bhagavatam so that we will purify. And obviously, to the level of surrender that we have, to the level of enviousness removed in our heart, we will be able to relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. In the last chapter, we saw that Parashuram gave a lesson to the irreligious kings. In fact, this particular chapter, it is having a link 2 chapters before, because the king Ayu, he comes not in this chapter or the previous chapter, he comes in the 2 chapters before. That's how Srimad-Bhagavatam goes, because Sukadeva Goswami, when he is trying to explain the Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana, he is speaking about the various rulers of the universe and also the rulers of the earthly planet also. So when he speaks about a particular ruler, then the kings who ruled in that particular time and in that particular place, then when that king is having a deeper connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he explains that particular story. That's why we see the story of Dhruva Maharaj comes, then the story of Prahlad Maharaj comes, the story of Bali Maharaj comes. And then again, Sukadeva Goswami will come back to the narration of the different kings. So similarly, when Sukadeva Goswami is narrating the different kings, particularly he spoke about King Ghadi, and then how Parashuram appeared in that dynasty, and then how he killed the Kshatriyas 21 times. Then Sukadeva Goswami was asked by Parikshit Maharaj, why should Parashuram do such an act? Then Sukadeva Goswami has to explain it fully. So it took 1 or 2 chapters for the whole incarnation of Parashuram. And then now again we are going back 2 chapters before, where the reference to Pururava and then the sons, this Ayu is coming. And then now the Ayu and then his sons, and then how his sons, like that, the whole parampara is explained here. And now we are coming to the king Raji. So here in this particular words, we see that Raji has left this world. Raji is a very powerful king. He has left this world. He was so powerful that he was helping Indra in fighting against the demons. That's a general affair. There is always a fight between the demigods and the demons. So the demons were attacking Indra, and then Indra took shelter of Raji, and then because of Raji's power, he was able to gain victory over the demons, and then Indra, he gave the kingdom to Raji to rule. In fact, Indra gave the kingdom to Raji to rule because he was still fearing Prahlad. So he was not taking the kingdom back from Raji. Then after the death of Raji, now the sons of Raji, naturally they are inheriting the property of the father. Now they are ruling the kingdom. They are ruling the earthly planet and also the kingdom of Indra. But then now Indra, he wants to get back his heavenly planet. And now the sons of Raji, they are not going to agree on this proposal. So now he is planning to kill them. That we see that the next verse, how Brihaspati is engaged to somehow bewilder the sons of Raji, and then they fall from the regulatory principles. Then it becomes easy for the king of heaven, Indra, to kill the sons of Raji. So it seems there is This is almost similar how Indra took the kingdom from Bali Maharaj. That time how Sukracharya was engaged as a priest to Bali Maharaj, and how Indra was approaching the Supreme Lord to appear as an incarnation and then get back his kingdom. So similarly here we see that Indra, he wants to get back his kingdom, so he is approaching Brihaspati, and then Brihaspati is helping him to somehow get back his kingdom. So here in the purport we see that almost similarly what's there in the translation Srila Prabhupada has given. Here we see that Srila Prabhupada is writing, because the sons of Raji, they had not taken from the heavenly kingdom from Indra, but had inherited it from their property, they considered it their paternal property. So it is simple, they are just fighting over a property. The sons of Raji, they are thinking that this is my property, this is our property, and Indra is thinking this is his property. That's the nature of mentality of a conditioned soul. We know that in Ishopanishad, the verse 1 says that Ishavasham idam sarvam yatkincham jagatyam jagat tena tektena vunjita magrada kashyasviddanam. Ishavasham idam sarvam, everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything belongs to Krishna. And whoever is fighting for anything as their own property, they are simply criminals. Srila Prabhupada in many of his lectures, it should be there obviously in his books also, that everybody in this world who is trying to possess something is like a criminal. Whoever is in this material, naturally he is a criminal, there is no doubt about it. Unnaturally he is a criminal, naturally everybody is a pure devotee of Krishna. So everybody here in this material world is a criminal. Srila Prabhupada in one of the lectures, he says that the degree of criminality may be different. Otherwise, everybody is a criminal, even a sugar. A sugar candy is taken by an ant, so the ant is remaining as a criminal. And somebody, maybe a goat may try to take a morsel of grass, so he is also a criminal. And somebody may, like here we see the sons of Raji, they are trying to take the whole kingdom as theirs, so they are also like criminals. And Indra, he is trying to take over a planet, so he is also a criminal. Right from Indra to Indragropa, the ant or Indra, everybody is a criminal in this world. Nobody is exempted. One may be an ant criminal or a goat criminal or a Indra criminal, but everybody is a criminal in this material world. So we should know that nothing belongs to us, everything belongs to Krishna. In fact, Krishna says in Gita that everything belongs to him only. Krishna says that Bhumi apanolo vayu kam mano buddhir evacha ahankara ityam me bhinna prakriti ashtrata. Krishna says, I have 8 separated material energies and everything is mine. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. So earth belongs to Krishna. So whatever we take from earth, so we are taking from Krishna. Somebody may say, I am the possessor of a mind, but that mind is from the earth and the earth belongs to Krishna. So somebody who claims that this mind, the iron ore that I get from this mine belongs to me, then he is a criminal. Because ultimately everything belongs to Krishna. But in the meantime, somebody is claiming that this is my property. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he very beautifully says that this happiness that is derived from the possession of a property is the happiness of the rogues and thieves. Yeah. I'll just read. I was very much attracted to this particular paragraph, so I just thought, okay, let me read. This is a lecture given by Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta, January 29, 1973. This is a Nectar of Devotion lecture. You know, Krishna says in Gita, Sthenyor eva uchyate. Whoever doesn't offer anything, it can be anything, but everything belongs to Krishna. If somebody is not offering anything but trying to enjoy, he is a sthena. Sthena means a thief. So Srila Prabhupada, he just quotes that from Bhagavad Gita, Stenayor sa uchyate. So Srila Prabhupada says, everyone in this material world, one who has no Krishna consciousness, he's a thief, he's a rogue, he's a robber. Everyone, just like the Americans. They occupied the land of America by killing the Red Indians. And now they are claiming proprietor. And there is immigration department. Nobody can come here, it is our land. Just Prabhupada, how he could see, he could detect. No, nobody detected. But Srila Prabhupada could detect. Who are you people, man? You just 200 years before you went to America. And then, of course, if you see the history of how the modern Americans acquired the North America, this is really very, very bad history. That how they exploited the people there and then how they acquired. Like Srila Prabhupada is saying, before that, Red Indians were there. And then Red Indians were in many places. They are just brutally killed and then taken over. And now in America, there is an immigration department and they are saying us, nobody can come here, it is our land. Okay, now I am reading, continuing. This is going on. The first thing is stolen property, everyone. Everything is stolen property. Now Srila Prabhupada is giving a very beautiful story which he has given many times. A group of thieves stolen some things, and when they were dividing, one of them said, kindly morally divide, honestly divide. The thing is taken dishonestly and they are dividing honestly. This is going on, whole world. Everything is taken dishonestly, and when there is a question of division, the United Nations honestly divides it. The Association of the Honest Men, United Nations. Actually, Srila Prabhupada is sarcastically speaking. He is not saying actually the people in the United Nations are honest. He is sarcastically saying, the Association of the Honest Men, United Nations, all plunderers, rogues, thieves, and they have made an association, United Nations. You see, basically they are all rogues and thieves. As soon as there is opportunity, they'll commit all criminal activities. And they are doing. So this is not philosophy. So here, happiness by material possession is the happiness of the rogues and the thieves. So this is the point. Everybody here in this material world is a criminal, a thief, a rogue, or a robber. This is going on in this material world. Right from the beginning of the creation, everybody is trying to possess something. But everything is stolen property. And on the strength of this stolen property, somebody is having some moral principles. That's why this Karmavada, they say Karmavada means somebody who is following some religious principle but without God consciousness. They speak about morality, but it's all immoral. Srila Prabhupada says, without God consciousness, this is how he starts this. Without God consciousness, it's all immoral. Somebody may say, let's morally do something, but when the underlying principle is immorality, then how come there be any morality? Just like the story of a thief, which Prabhupada nicely says. The thief, they have stolen everything. Nearby village, they have robbed everything from that village. And then now they are all together. They are come to the forest. And now they are saying, let us morally divide. It's an immoral property. Already they have stolen everything and now they want to morally divide. That's the reality. Everybody is trying to possess something which is actually not theirs, but everything belongs to Krishna. But this has to be understood, that we are trying to enjoy something which is actually the property of Krishna. Here we see that Indra, he is trying to get back his kingdom, thinking that this kingdom of heaven belongs to me. But this is not Indra's kingdom, this is actually Krishna's kingdom. And Indra is a criminal. Actually, Indra is a criminal means that's very clearly seen in the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 10th canto, we see that how Krishna, he went to the kingdom of heaven to get the Parijata tree. So Krishna has 16,108 wives. And Krishna has a wife by the name Satyabhama. So Satyabhama, we know Satyabhama is how she is related to Krishna is that she is like a demanding wife. So Satyabhama is demanding from Krishna, like, I want a flower from the heavenly planet, from the tree of the heavenly planet Parijata. So Krishna is saying, why you want a flower? Let me bring the whole tree for you. So Krishna is going to the heavenly planet along with Satyabhama, and then he is trying to take the Parijata tree from the heavenly planet. But Indra is now objecting. He is saying that, oh, how I can give? He is saying, because Sachi is not going to be, Sachi means the wife of Indra, she is not going to be happy with Indra. How come somebody from the earthly planet can take over a tree from your kingdom? So it's difficult for Indra to hear such insult from the wife. So he is going and fighting with Krishna, who is having his consort Satyabhama. So he is saying that no, this tree cannot be taken to the earthly planet because this is from heaven. But then Krishna, no, my wife is asking me, I cannot say no. I have to simply fulfill the desires of my wife. Then they have to fight. Indra and Krishna, they are fighting. And obviously, who will win? Krishna will win. And it's a humiliating defeat for Indra. That now it is insulting for him that somebody is taking a tree from his kingdom. That is insulting for him. But this is Krishna. So if he has simply accepted, then no more insults. But then he has to fight and then he has to lose the battle. That is another insult. And then obviously, Sachi, how the wife of Indra will be happy to have a defeated husband. It's very bad. Because somebody, if the husband is getting defeated, then it's difficult for the wife to tolerate, and then difficult for the husband to bear the insults of the wife when the husband is getting defeated. That's why we should have Krishna as a real husband, because Krishna is Jaya, Vijaya, Ajita. He cannot be conquered. If somebody who accepts Krishna as their husband, then no more loss for no more defeat for their husband. So, Krishna is the supreme proprietor of everything and everybody. And when Indra was rejecting the property which was actually possessed by Krishna, then he had to have a humiliating defeat. So we should not be like that. As practicing devotees of Krishna consciousness, we should offer everything to Krishna. In fact, particularly these possessions, especially these possessions are in the hand of the householders, grihastha devotees. That we see. And traditionally, brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyasi, they don't possess anything. A brahmachari doesn't possess. Only the grihasthas, they possess. In fact, 100% of the properties are possessed by the grihasthas. A brahmachari gurukule and he just remains in a gurukul. He just serves the spiritual master, so he doesn't have any possession. Possessions are always managed by the kings or the kshatriyas or the brahmanas, the brahmana grihasthas or the vaishyas who engage in food production and co-protection. But brahmacharis, they don't engage in any sort of possessing things or in any activity to possess things. Brahmachari at most, he may have some piece of cloth, some kaupin or some dhotis and then chadar. Otherwise, a brahmachari, he doesn't possess anything. What is there for a brahmachari to possess? Maybe right now in this situation, the modern scenario, a brahmachari may possess some smartphone. So when somebody possesses something, generally there is a problem. But for a brahmachari, it is not at all a problem because he is not going to possess anything. If at all, okay, somebody may say that if in a brahmachari ashram, a brahmachari is possessing a smartphone and then another brahmachari sees that, oh, I am not having a smartphone. Of course, at least in our ashram, we don't have anything like that, any scenario like that. But such a brahmachari is never going to be a brahmachari. He has to take up the grihastha ashram. But otherwise, brahmachari, they don't have any possessions. Definitely, nobody is going to fight that, oh, you have some 2 sets of kaupin, I have only one. So you have one more than me. In fact, anything, or if a brahmachari may have some mangoes or chapatis kept inside, and then if another brahmachari sees that, okay, he is having a mango more than me, we know that even this is very silly. We know that this is not something a big fight. But if you see that the possessions that a householder is possessing, that's really a big problem. At least in my experience, I have seen that the problems that the grihasthas or the non-devotees outside they really have a big problem when they possess something, especially with the respect of possessing a land. In fact, Grihasthas, they possess so many things. In fact, Grihasthas are given the license to possess. They have the license to possess a wife or a husband, or they have the license to have possess children, possess some land, possess some animals, property, or things. So a Grihastha, he possesses so many things, and with all these possessions comes problems, so many problems. Especially we see that nowadays there are so many problems with respect to land. There is always, wherever we go, we see that they're always having either problem with the opposite party, the wife or the husband, or they have some problem. Oh, my son is having this problem, my daughter had a divorce, or I am fighting with my brother to somehow take that land. I have a problem with my brother in doing this business. So everywhere, because of the possessions, there is a problem. Here we see that the sons of Raji, they are just possessing the heavenly kingdom, they had a problem, and then Indra, he's thinking this is mine, so he's thinking this is a problem for me. So when somebody tries to possess something, there is always a problem. That's why, though the Shastra, it gives us we see that Grihasthas, they have a license for some sort of sense gratification, but along with such license, we see that two things actually comes. Along with such license for sense gratification, problems come, but as per Shastra, along with such license, the responsibility is given. In fact, we see that a Grihastha is supposed to maintain the 3/4 of the population. Brahmachari, Vanaprastha and the Sannyasa, they are supposed to be maintained by the Grihasthas. So Grihasthas, they have a big duty. They have not that they can just earn, have some property, possess something, and then they can live a luxurious life. No. When a Brahmachari approaches, then it's a Grihastha's duty to feed him. When a Vanaprastha approaches or a Sannyasi approaches, he has to take care of them. He has to take care of the other three. Among the 4 classes, the ashramas, the other 3 ashramas are supposed to be maintained by the Grihasthas. So they have a big duty. Grihasthas, they have a big duty, especially the duty of giving charity. The Grihasthas, the householders, they possess, but the Shastra enjoins them the rule that they should engage in charity. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he writes in Bhagavad Gita that the main duty of a householder is to engage in charity. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he writes in Bhagavad Gita in 2 places, whenever the word charity comes, he speaks about the householders, and he mentions it very clearly that householders are supposed to give 50% of their income to the service of Krishna. This is the duty of a householder. This is a mandate for the householder Grihasthas particularly. This is not just Grihastha devotees. In Vedic culture, this is the regulation for the karmis also. In the Varnashrama, even somebody who may be a karmi, who may be engaging in some pious activity, he is also supposed to give 50% of his income to Krishna. Not that one can simply accumulate. We see that the kings, they accumulate by conquering kingdom after kingdom after kingdom. And nowadays, that may not be the case. Where is a king who is going to conquer? Maybe now we see that Russia is trying to conquer Ukraine, but otherwise, nowadays, practically we see that there is no conquering of kingdom after kingdom. I'll possess more land like that. No king is actually doing that. But then we see that there is another sort of conquering is always there, that we see that the corporates are there, the capitalists are there, they are trying to conquer the property, they want to expand. We see that a company is worth $100 billion. We see that there are certain companies are worth $100 billion, $50 billion. I do not know how much they have properties then. Then we can see that they are also trying to accumulate more and more and more. So when this accumulation is there, as per Shastra, whoever is accumulating, he is supposed to be engaging in some charity work. So traditionally, we see that even the Vaishyas, whatever income they get from the land, they give 50% to the temple, or they somehow engage their 50% income in either running a dharmashala or anadashala, or some they give to some parashala. If not, they could give to Krishna. Otherwise, they will engage in some sort of pious activities. It's recommended. It's recommended for the recommendation, or we can say this is a mandate for the householders to give 50% of their income to the service of Krishna. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he particularly mentions this point that householder has to give 50% of his income to Krishna in two places in Bhagavad Gita. And we know this is very common. It's very common. In fact, as a principle, we should take it. As every householder, they should take this principle of giving 50% of the income to Krishna. And I'm a brahmachari, but it's not that I am saying this is Prabhupada saying. In fact, Prabhupada, not in Bhagavad Gita alone. If you read, one who has read Srila Prabhupada's book will know that Prabhupada has constantly repeated this in many of his purports. In fact, when we were discussing the story of Bali Maharaj, there also Srila Prabhupada mentions the same thing, how 50% of income should be given to Krishna. And if you have heard Srila Prabhupada's lectures, there also it's mentioned, a grahastha has to engage in 50% of his property in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada, he often gives the example of Rupa Goswami setting this principle in our parampara. So Rupa Goswami, he said the principle that 50% he gave to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who were engaged in preaching activities, and 25% he gave to the family members, and 25% he kept as savings. Actually, if you see, 50% was given for the service of the Lord, and 25% was kept as an emergency, and that 25% Rupa Goswami used for Sanatana Goswami. Then we can say practically 75% was consumed for Krishna's service. In fact, whenever I read that Srila Prabhupada, in fact recently I read in the 16th chapter how Krishna is speaking about the divine and demonic qualities. There the Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, there comes the word Dhana, charity. Then Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the grahastha householder has to engage in 50% his income in Krishna's service. So often reading it, I many times think, why Srila Prabhupada is saying 50%? Why not 100%? As a brahmachari, obviously we don't have any position, so we give full everything. What a brahmachari has. Brahmachari is just simply pranay arte devacha. Pranay means his full life is engaging in Krishna service. Obviously, a grahastha who is giving full-time service to Krishna, naturally he is already giving 100% to Krishna. But a grahastha who is making an income outside, he is supposed to engage 50%. Recently, I was just hearing Guru Maharaj's lecture. There, Maharaj, he was saying the same point. He is quoting Srila Prabhupada, saying that a householder has to give 50% of the income to Krishna. Then Maharaj, he was saying, actually Prabhupada was giving us concession to the householders. So Prabhupada is giving concession to the householders to give 50%, but Krishna is demanding 100% in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Sarvadanman parittaja mamekam sharanam vraja. So Krishna is demanding 100%. But some concession is there, okay, 50%. But we see that Bhagavatam begins where Bhagavad Gita ends. So somebody who has actually 100% surrendered to Krishna, then he will be able to relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. Otherwise, to the level, if somebody who is not surrendered to Krishna, then when such a person is reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, he will see that, oh Krishna, this is too much. When somebody is not 100% surrendered or given, then when they read Bali Maharaj's story, then they may think, oh Krishna, this is too much, that Vishnu is taking away everything. How come Bali Maharaj can take everything? In fact, Bali Maharaj was happy to give. And when gradually one comes to the 10th chapter, there Krishna himself is saying, Yasyaham anugruhnami harishye taddanam shanai, harishye, I take away dhanam, I take away the wealth. If at all I want to give my mercy to somebody, then the first thing I do is I take away the wealth. So this is Krishna, he is directly speaking. So somebody who is not surrendered, then they will feel that, oh Krishna, if I come to Krishna, then he is going to take his wealth. But as devotees, one will relish, oh, Krishna is just taking from me. Just like how Bali Maharaj was so happy to give 100% of his property to Krishna. So similarly, when a devotee is in that level, Or see, naturally it's very difficult that practitioners means they are just practicing, not that they are in the stage of perfection as a Paramahamsa. So, but the goal is to attain the 100% that Bali Maharaj is teaching us, or other devotees, in the whole of Srimad-Bhagavatam, they are teaching us that we should not be attached, and then we should come to a stage that we are to give everything to Krishna. In fact, as I said, when one tries to keep everything for oneself, the result is only misery. The result is only misery. We can practically see. Whoever is possessing some land or some big business or something they try to possess, or some bank balance, they see that there is some problem. In fact, we see that everybody is having some problem with some land, particularly. Just see, it's a big headache. For many years we are fighting in the court, they used to say. For many years, it's a big headache. Means when one tries to possess something, it's always a headache. Actually, why this is a headache? Because first, everything belongs to Krishna. And how can one be happy when somebody tries to possess something immoral? It's the same principle that Srila Prabhupada speaks. How can somebody be happy when possessing something immorally achieved or attained? So when we cannot be happy when somebody tries to possess something which is immorally attained, means knowing that this is not mine. Or they may say that, no, we do not know this philosophy of Krishna consciousness, but then still they also suffer. Everybody suffers when they try to possess something, because there is no connection with Krishna. See, Krishna is Rasavai Saha, that Krishna is the reservoir of pleasure. When somebody wants pleasure, they have to connect themselves to Krishna. Otherwise, there is no question of pleasure. Whatever we may try to possess, whatever we may try to attain, or whatever act we try to do, if there is not having any connection with Krishna, then we are not going to derive any pleasure from it. Only when we make a connection with Krishna, then there is going to be pleasure. That's why when we possess something, we don't get the pleasure. But when we give to Krishna, we will get pleasure, because we are making connection with Krishna. Actually, as Srila Prabhupada says, the idea of possession of happiness through material things is the idea of a rogue or a criminal. So, by possessing material things, we can never be happy. In fact, there is a statement in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Kim Sukam Matya Dharminaha. Somebody who is trying to have existence in this material world by possessing things, they can never be happy. Kim Sukam, where is happiness? Bhagavatam is saying, where is happiness? So there is no happiness. We are supposed to give. We are supposed to give everything to Krishna. When somebody gives to Krishna, then one can be happy. So we should give to Krishna. Everybody should give to Krishna. A brahmachari also give himself to Krishna, and vanaprastha, sannyasi, all their acts, all their activities through the body, mind, everything should be given to Krishna. And particularly, here we see that, and as Srila Prabhupada stresses in many places, a grahastha is also supposed to give. At least 50% is a minimum thing. In fact, if you just analyze and see 50% income given to the Supreme Lord, or give 50% of income engaged in service to others, is just a regulative principle. It's a regulative principle. It's not that something we are doing something. Obviously, it's a charity, that's understood. But it's just a regulative principle. When somebody gives something more than that, it is seen that, okay, this is a very surrendered person. Because Krishna's demand is 100%, that we have to give 100% to him. But we should give. We should give. We should give whatever we have in our possession to Krishna. And we know that in our society, this ISKCON, how it's a big organization. Obviously, it also requires a capital for running. Any organization needs a capital to run. And ISKCON, it's a huge organization. Definitely, it also needs a huge capital. Obviously, in ISKCON, we are also depending on the donations from others. But it's also expected that grihasthas, they can also contribute 50% of their income to the society that bestowed on them the supreme benefit of this Krishna consciousness. It's their duty, and also it's their dharma also to give to the ISKCON society. And we see that by such an activity, in fact, ISKCON can preach more and also grow fastly also. We see that the Christians, long back I heard, I do not know how much this is a fact, but I know there is more truth to this statement, that the Christians, when they, maybe before conversion, they were different, but once they become converted to the religion of Christianity, they try to give a part of their income to Krishna. At least I heard that 10% they give to in preaching Christianity all over the world. And that's huge. We know how Christianity is spreading. If somebody could give 10% of their income and then to the organization, and then with that the organization could spread like anything, then we can imagine our acharyas, our purva acharyas, our predecessors acharyas, they have fixed us that we have to give 50%. So say for example, we have worked for 50 years, then 25 years of our income is to be given to Krishna. Whatever properties we have, 50% of the properties is supposed to be given to Krishna. So if such a thing is there, then ISKCON as an organization which is meant to deliver the mankind, then we can do so much good to the society. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he says that when all the leaders of the society, when all the leaders and rich men of the society give their 50% income in spreading God consciousness through Srimad-Bhagavatam, then the whole society will be saved, will be peaceful, will be prosperous. And Srila Prabhupada is speaking to the outside people that the rich man, the leaders, you give 50%, then we'll save the society. Then we are the society. Then we can imagine if we give the best, the maximum to this society which nurtured our spiritual life, then obviously we can expect how much we can save the people who are suffering. Somehow we are saved. Somehow we came in touch with ISKCON and then now we are saved. Now if we have to save the others also. And obviously, see, here in Salem we are building a temple. And obviously this also needs fund. And in Mayapur, everywhere, wherever the temple construction is there, a big capital is needed. And then obviously donations from outside is also welcome. But then whatever we can take from within the society, the devotees, then that is also a nice thing to push Srila Prabhupada's movement. It's not that, in fact, this is our temple. This is our Lord. The Lord who is standing here, Sri Gaunita, is our Lord. And the Lordship, Sri Radha Krishna, they're all our Lord. In fact, they are our real life members. So we should be very happy to actually give. That's in fact our natural inclination to give. I was recently hearing from Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj was speaking about Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he was speaking about the glories of Srila Prabhupada, and particularly Srila Maharaj was speaking about Srila Prabhupada's heart. Maharaj said that Srila Prabhupada's heart is in India. We know that Srila Prabhupada, he distributed Krishna consciousness widely in the Western world because that was the desire of his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he spread it as ordered by his spiritual master. But Srila Prabhupada's heart was in India. And Srila Prabhupada personally said that my desire is to preach in India. My Guru Maharaj desire to preach in the West, which I have done, but I want to preach in India. So Srila Prabhupada, he was just preaching in India. And Maharaj, he gave the example that one's heart can be known by where one is putting his time and money in. And Srila Prabhupada, he spent much of his time, especially after 1970, we could see that Prabhupada was spending much of his time in India, developing the projects of Mumbai, Mayapur, and Vrindavan. So Prabhupada was spending much time in India, and all his, major of his funds that he even collected from the outside India, he brought to India and then established temples. So Prabhupada was engaging his money and his time in India. So Maharaj was saying that, so Prabhupada's heart was in India. So similarly, we should also try to see that where our heart is in. If our heart is in Krishna, or if we have Krishna in our heart, then it's natural that anyone will engage their time in Krishna and engage their money in Krishna. If somebody is engaging their time and money in family, then naturally their heart is in their family. And somebody is engaging their money and time in Krishna's service or for Krishna, then we can understand this is where their heart is. So we should not try to just accumulate for our family members. Actually, we should try to accumulate for Krishna. In fact, is Krishna not our family member? In fact, Krishna is our family member. We want Krishna as our only family member. So obviously, giving to Krishna is like accumulating for our family, real family. So we are supposed to give to Krishna. Then we'll be really happy. Of course, I'm not saying that we are not giving anything. We are definitely, devotees are giving sumptuously only. There is no doubt about it. Many devotees are giving sumptuously only. And giving to Krishna is real pleasure for us. In fact, that pleasure can be actually felt when somebody is actually giving to Krishna. And that comes from inside, from the connection with Krishna, that pleasure comes. And there is one example. Like, see, we know that devotees are giving to Krishna, not here, even developing the Mayapur project also. Many all over the world are giving to Mayapur temple also, and many are giving to many temples building also. But we see that somebody may give something, but then if they can give the maximum, then that is always good. Not that we give a very fixed income. I was just getting one point just in the morning that when somebody initially comes to Krishna consciousness, when he chants one round, naturally we appreciate him so much. Oh Prabhu, you are really doing chanting Hare, you are very happy. But after 5-6 years, if he is saying the same thing, will we appreciate him? No, we see that, Prabhu, you have to further advance. The same thing, but then when somebody takes time more, then we want, just like how somebody is in the first standard, after 5 years, 6 years, still he is remaining in the same first and second standard, we are not going to appreciate. Like somebody is learning A, B, A, E, E. In a child, as a child one may learn A, E, E and all. But when somebody has grown, if he is still in the A, E, E, then we are not going to be happy. When a child says A, B, C, D, then mother will be very happy. But when the child grows, when it becomes adult, mother will be happy when he delivers a talk. So similarly, when we grow, then we are supposed to come to that level of full surrender. Then that's very nice. Anyway, the mandate that Srila Prabhupada is given for the grihasthas, that I was stressing. Why all this thing is that because otherwise it is just problem. Just like we are trying to accumulate some property. We are trying to accumulate some property and then for our son. We are trying to have some property in our daughter. So we are trying to possess some property for the son, some property for the daughter. Then that son, he will try to accumulate some property for his son. What is this parampara? Parampara of accumulating some property. And here we see what happens when somebody is trying to accumulate a property. Like the sons of Raji, they were trying to have the property of the father. And now because of possessing such a property, they have to meet death. So this is the result. That we learn from Srimad-Bhagavatam, like how Indra, he has to fight and then take the property of Raji. But by giving to Krishna, then one is actually very happy. We are relaxed. In fact, when we are free of possessing things, then one becomes actually very happy. Only by accumulating, more and more anxiety comes. More and more anxiety. Anyway, Maya is going to separate. Maya is anyway going to separate us. So it's always better that we don't accumulate, but we can give to Krishna. That's how we serve the Lord. That's how serving the Supreme Lord, by giving to Krishna. I was just remembering this Mayapur project, because I heard that even in this Mayapur project, still more than some 300 crores are required. It's a huge project. We know how all over the world devotees are contributing. In fact, outside people are contributing, and it's a big project. And still some 300 crores or still more. Maybe, I think, I'm not sure. So it's a big project, and still it's needed. And I'm not actually blaming anybody. I'm just saying out of my experience and what I could realize through Srila Prabhupada's book, that I'm trying to present. Because I had a personal experience with one person. Because we are trying to serve the Lord, but we should not try to enjoy the Lord. See, serving the Lord and enjoying the Lord, it has a different meaning. In one way, it is okay, it is acceptable that you are trying to have some connection with Krishna, but then the best connection is to serve the Lord. We know that we do not want to take any service from Radha Krishna. This is our principle. We don't want, like how Rupa Goswami, when he wanted to offer something to Sanatana Goswami, that time Radharani has to come and then give the ingredients, and then when Sanatana Goswami detected that Radharani has come for our service, then he was chastising Rupa Goswami, and he was saying that you have killed me. Means we do not want to take any service from Radha. This is highest principle, but then I am saying that this should be our goal, our ambition to achieve. So I was just having the example of one person. He is from a very big metropolitan city of India, but somehow this devotee is a good devotee only. So he was trying to have a property in Vrindavan, and he was trying to have a property in Mayapur. In fact, they have flat in Vrindavan, they have flat in Mayapur. And then he was spending of course his son was working and then doing everything for him, but then he was, in his old age, he was there in Mayapur, but somehow his health was much deteriorating, and then he was advised to go to a very advanced hospital, so he has to come back to his biggest metropolitan city. And then I think he is no more. He has just left this world because in this metropolitan city, and not in Vrindavan flat or the Mayapur flat which he was trying to possess. I do not know. You know, of course, now we see that there are so many flats available in Vrindavan and also in Mayapur. In fact, in Mayapur, we see that there are so many flats are there. Devotees can. It's very good that somebody wants to stay in Mayapur, or they want to spend their final time in Mayapur, or to serve. It's all good. But we also see that there is a temple that's coming up. That also need. That's a temple of Krishna. So we are having a house for ourselves in Mayapur, but then we need a house in Mayapur. So if the house of the Lord is not built, then why would somebody should have a house for themselves? In fact, somebody is really very sincere and they have some service, obviously they can do it. Not that I'm just finding something, some fault with somebody. No, nothing like that. Or now I'm just saying that, devotees, please forgive me if I'm speaking something above my head and then something wrong. So I'm just falling flat and asking for forgiveness. But I'm just making a point that serving the Dham is important than enjoying the Dham, staying there. We have to go and serve the Dham. Giving to Krishna is actually serving. So that's a very higher principle. In fact, I remember one nice story. You all would have heard maybe the place called Bhadrachal. I know this place particularly very well because I am from the printing background, and then we used to buy so much of this print products, especially the paper products from Bhadrachal. But I never knew that the significance of this Bhadrachal that time. I thought Bhadrachal is known for this paper industry, this ITC, paper and boards. It's very famous. It's a very big corporate company. So, but later I came to know that this Bhadrachal is known for a very beautiful Sri Ram temple. And then there is this temple was built by a devotee called Ramadas. And he built this temple by collecting so much of his funds from others. And then he built this temple, but till this temple was built, he was living in a thatched roof, very small mud house. Not that he was a poor person, he is from a very aristocratic family, rich family. When he came across Bhadrachal, he thought, okay, this temple has to be built. So he gave up his aristocratic life, and then he gave that till the temple comes. In fact, that time even his wife was pregnant, but still, because of his strong nature to serve Krishna, his wife was also living in the very simple house. He was thinking that, okay, first the Lord's temple come. He was not bothered to live in a very rich aristocratic place. He gave up that place, he lived in a small place, and then after the temple came only, he was taken to his other duty. And now we see that there is a beautiful Bhadrachal temple because of this wonderful devotee Ramadas. In fact, that Bhadrachal place is the only place where Mother Sita is sitting on the lap of Lord Ram. It's a very beautiful version. So that's because of a committed devotee called Ramadas. So when such acts are done, then Krishna becomes very pleased. So see, we know our goal in life is to please Krishna. We want to please Krishna. We don't want to please our senses or please our wife or please our husband or please our relatives, friends, well-wishers, public. Nobody. We want to please Krishna. So any act that we do, let us think, is this going for the pleasure of Krishna? Then we will be happy. If we see that this is for the pleasure of Krishna, then we will be really happy. So we know, Nate vitu swartagatim hi Vishnum. We do not know. We preach to others that they do not know their real goal is to attain Vishnu. But as practice, we should also see, am I in that particular track? Am I properly going in that track? This is also to be checked. That we are also progressing in that track. Especially for a Grihastha, this possessing is a big problem. That's why Shastra says, in fact, Krishna, he repeats many times that one has to give up the result to me. Many times, if you read Bhagavad Gita, he mentions many times, and Prabhupada himself is saying that Krishna is repeating this many times in Bhagavad Gita, that one has to give up the results. Why? Because this giving up the result is really difficult. It's really difficult. That's why there is a mandate in the Shastra that, okay, let the Grihasthas give 50% of the income to the service of Krishna. Then at one point in time, then they'll be able to gradually give up that attachment, and then they'll be able to finally go back home, back to Godhead. So this is needed. So there is one very interesting lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. So I will just read it and then I will just finish this lecture. So this lecture was given in Vrindavan, October 20, 1972. And it's a Srimad-Bhagavatam Lecture on Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 9. Srila Prabhupada, you are just speaking about this pranay arte diyo vacha. Okay, so I am just reading it. So everyone can serve Krishna. Pranay arte diya vacha shriya acharanam sada. You have dedicated your life for spreading this Krishna conscious movement. That is first class pranay. So whoever is dedicated in front of Srila Prabhupada, there are many disciples of him, the Grihastha disciples or the Brahmacharya disciples, Sannyasi disciples. They are all dedicated their life fully for the movement. So Prabhupada is saying that is first class, pranay. If you cannot dedicate your life immediately, then spend 50% of your income for Krishna. Yeah. Here, in this lecture, Srila Prabhupada is again saying that if you cannot dedicate your life immediately, then spend 50% of your income for Krishna. Pranay artai. If you think you have no money, then pranay artai diya, by your intelligence. If you have got some knowledge, write some books and spread it, Krishna consciousness. And if you have no education, no money, and you cannot dedicate your life, then you can spend your vacha. In fact, when once Srila Prabhupada was asked, what is needed in this Krishna Bhakti? Prabhupada said, you just give your tongue and ear, that is enough. So this, at least, if you can't do anything, at least we can chant Hare Krishna and hear the glories of Krishna. So that is vacha. So pranay arte diya vacha. What is the vacha? Chant Hare Krishna and tell everyone, please chant Hare Krishna. Where is the difficulty? You can serve Krishna in any condition of life, but don't be miser. If you think that you have got 1 crore of rupees, so Krishna says vacha. Means, Srila Prabhupada is sarcastically saying, you are saying, I have crores of rupee, but you are saying, Krishna is saying Vacha. So let me just chant Hare Krishna. So now Prabhupada is saying, let the bank balance, means it's quote, Prabhupada is saying, let the bank balance remain for my children and I go to Vrindavana and chant Hare Krishna. No. Srila Prabhupada is saying, no. That is called Vitta Sartha. If you have got money, you must spend it. You must spend that money. Not that money is for my children and wife and I come to Vrindavana and chant Hare Krishna. There are many such retired persons here. They leave the money for their relatives and come here with a, of course, that is good. Srila Prabhupada is saying, of course, that is good. But Krishna is very intelligent. Krishna wants to know where you have kept your money. Laughter. Devotees are now laughing. Because Prabhupada is just speaking that Krishna wants to know where you have kept your money. He inquires, you kept your money for your children and you have come to love me with your beads? No. Oh, you are coming to Vrindavan with some beads. But where is your money that you have kept for children? So Prabhupada is saying, no. Krishna is very intelligent. Krishna wants that whatever you have got, you have to utilize for me. Yeah. Okay, so I stop here. I know there will be so many questions and different things, but yeah, that's anyway, we can discuss further also, but I'm not planning to take any questions, so I just stop here. Grantat Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.